Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's DAF Hayomi KIDDUSHIN DAF Nun Dalet. We begin on the last line of Nun Gimel Amud Beis, the last two words, Amar Rav. So in yesterday's DAF, we learned that according to Rabbi Meir, if a man takes mammon of Hegdish property, and applies it to Kiddushin of an Isha, does it work or not? Well, it depends. B'meisid, if it was done intentionally, they're aware that this is mammon Hegdish, then it works. But if it was done b'shoigig, unknowingly, unintentionally, it does not work. We had one pshat, the name of Rabbi Yehuda, because they're uninterested. It's a tos. Who wants to get involved in mammon Hegdish being diverted for personal use? It's an avera, it's me'ila. They're not interested. It's like a mekach tos, like a mistaken transaction. It's a non-starter. It doesn't take off the ground. It's not chal. And therefore, there's no me'ila. Sort of a catch-22. They're not interested, then the transaction doesn't take effect, and there was never a diversion to begin with. And the mammon stays as is. It's considered mammon Hegdish. Rav takes issue with this approach. Just because they're not willing accomplices, just because they're not really interested, just because it's unintentional, doesn't mean there was no me'ila committed. A me'ila applies even to shaykik, like many other violations. There is an avera b'mezid, avera b'shaykik. Same thing with diverting mammon hegdish. One can do it b'mezid, but even if there was no intention to do so, it was b'shaykik, it's still a commitment of me'ila, and therefore the transaction does take effect. Amar Rav, chazarnu al kol tzaddim shel Reb Meir. You know, we looked around wherever Reb Meir discusses hilchos me'ila. We never found this, distinction. V'lo matzinu hegdish. We never found this concept that hegdish is only b'shegig, ein mischalel, b'mezid mischalel. That when one spends hegdish money, b'mezid there's chilul, but b'shegig no chilul, no diversion, no me'ila. We don't find that anywhere. So he takes issue with Rabbi Yechonan's pshat. He holds that even if one spends hegdish money, b'shegig, there is me'ila. The money now leaves hegdish proper, and really, if it's applied for kiddushin, the kiddushin should take effect. So why doesn't it? Our Mishnah is speaking about a very unique and exclusive case. Because kahuna, we're speaking about the kohen's uniform. Right? So let's say his shirt. Shaloi balo, which have not yet been worn through, they're still usable. Hayel v'nitnu lahanes behen. Since the Torah allows the kohanim to use them even for personal use, Rashi says, the Gemara says, Torah wasn't given to angels. You can't expect the kohen to rip it off his back as soon as he's done the avodah that split second. Even though kohanim has reason, but Rashi says they're not zrizim like malachi asharis to quickly slide it off keheref ayin, Rashi says, like the blink of an eye. So ultimately the kohanim can wear their begadim even once they're done the avodah. So basically they're using it even for personal use. And that being the case, explains the Meiri, if it's allowed for some people, then it's allowed for others as well. So this is a specific reason for big day kahuna. Since you don't expect the kohanim to quickly remove it second they finish the avodah, so apparently it's also given for somewhat personal use. Hang on to it until they're ready to remove it. So once it's mutter for some people, it's mutter for others. Basically, we cancel the me'ila aspect pertaining to big day kahuna when it was only enjoyed b'shoigig. Okay, so that explains why if a person has hana from hegdish b'shoigig, without intention, of specifically and explicitly having the hana, like the kohanim with the begadim, they're just, it takes a couple of seconds to room. That's called like a shoigig. It's an unwilling benefit, right? So the same with ordinary person using the same begadim for personal use, if it's b'shoigeg, there's no mi'ila. Mi'ila by begadim was cancelled if it's b'shoigeg. That's the case of our Mishnah. He wasn't mekadosh with money belonging to Hegdish, with begadim, bigdei kehuna, and since it was b'shoigeg, there's no mi'ila, and basically no mi'ila means no transaction. The money now cannot be transferred out of Hegdish. Mi'ila allows a transfer. By definition, Mi'ila means diversion, right? But there's no Mi'ila, there's no diversion, the money remains as is, retains its Hegdish status. She hasn't really received anything for personal use. There's no Kiddushin. So according to Rav, we have a very unique way of explaining the Mishnah, which doesn't pertain to general Hegdish proper, rather to specific items like Bigdei Kehuna. Tashma. Here comes a kasha on Rav, who says that when it comes to Bigdei Kehuna, there's no Me'ila b'shegig. Kosnes Kehuna shebolu me'alam b'hem. Did Rameir? Here's Rameir speaking. The Kehanim's uniforms, which have become worn out, if they're used for personal use, there's Me'ila. Ma'ila afilu lo yibolu. So perhaps even if they're not yet worn out, Me'ila applies lo yibolu dafka. No, we're speaking specifically about begadim which had been worn out. In which case, they're no longer suitable for avodah, right? You can't wear them for these, serving the Beis HaMikdash. So the whole reason that we gave before, since it's roy for the Kehanim, it's roy for everybody, doesn't apply in this case because it's not roy for the Kehanim anymore. They can't use it. And therefore, it reverts back to ordinary Hegdish proper, where Me'ila applies, even b'shoigig. Tashma, here comes another kasha on Rav. Me'alim b'chadatin, ve'ein ma'alim ba'atikim. Divi Rabbi Yehuda. So Rashi brings, this is a Mishnah in Shekalim. So they had several coffers, several, like pushkas, into which they would toss money. One was called taklin chadatin. If a fellow, got delayed in bringing his machzas hashekel, he would toss it into this container. So it was meant for supplying this year's karbonos. So it was very, very current, very relevant. In which case, if a person misuses that money, he commits me'ilah. And then there was something called taklin atikim. If a person failed to contribute to last year's machzas hashekel collection, he comes back and he makes up for it this year. But it's no longer current. It's not meant for this year's carbon tzibur supply. Rather, they would take it and use it for other sort of expenses, whether it's paying for the Yerushalayim's walls, etc. Things that were funded using leftover, last year's, leftover from last year's funds. So what about me'ilah in those monies? Ve'ein ma'alim ba'atikim. Me'ilah doesn't apply to the old money, which is no longer serving to fund the karbonis. Rameir Omer me'alim af ba'atikim. Me'ilah applies even to the older monies. Why? Shaya Rameir Omer. Because he used to say like this: me'alim b'shiar alishka. Me'ilah applies even to the leftovers. The money that's left behind after they remove monies needed for the karbonis, shiur alishka, also entail me'ilah. Question is why? Va'amai, why is there me'ilah when a person mistakenly uses that money? Nema, we should say, well, hayil v'nitnu lohanis, levishal v'nitna taril machasharus. What do we fund with that money? Infrastructure, right? Infrastructure is something that you can't avoid enjoying. We're not a malach. Which monies are used to fund the city wall, the towers? This money, mishiyar alishkas, right? The leftover in the chamber there. This all municipal needs, mishiyar alishka. So why is there me'ilah? Let's switch the names. It's not Rabbi Meir. He holds me'ilah doesn't apply in this case because once it's meant for personal hana, so the whole idea of me'ilah is cancelled. Rather, it's Rabbi Yehuda speaking. Rabbi Yehuda holds that even though the Torah allows us to use it for the chayma, etc., but not for other uses, it still has an element of kedusha which generates milah. Tashma, here comes another kasha. The Sanya, Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yitzchak, Avon Yerushalayim, Shenashru. So suppose, a stone comes rolling off the wall. Mayalan Bahem, Divrei Rabbi Meir. So according to Rabbi Meir, there is milah. If one diverts it for personal use, that's a kasha on our concept. Lo yitem Rabbi Meir. Instead of attributing it to Rabbi Meir, switch the girsa la'ema Rabbi Yehuda. It's Rabbi Yehuda speaking, and once again, that's consistent with his shita that diversion for personal use is us, or even it generates milah even concerning items which are meant to serve, this type of function. But going and diverting it completely constitutes milah. So if it's Rabbi Yehuda speaking, it's not really going to work, because we're speaking about stones chipping off the Yerushalayim wall. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, Yerushalayim Yimekacha, is there then any kedusha applied to the wall of Yerushalayim? We find that it's not so. But now we have a Mishnah in Nidar. A person makes a vow, a neder, which is linked to something that has kedusha. That's the essence of a neder. This should be kaddish like that. And he says, look, I'm comparing it to, ki'imra, like the sheep of the karban, of the tamid, and the Beis Hamikdash, kedirim, like the pens containing the behemoths of hegdish, or firewood of hegdish, ke'etzim, like the firewood of the mizbeach, ke'ishim, like the fire itself, ke'echel, like the echel, part of the mizbeach of the Beis Hamikdash, ke'mizbeach, Yerushalayim. Right? So all these are sources of kedusha which can be transferred to this item here. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, no, kala omer Yerushalayim. I take issue with Yerushalayim. That has no, that doesn't generate a source of kedusha. Lo yomar klum. You can't sort of connect to the infrastructure of Yerushalayim and relate and consider it something of kedusha, and to be used for the basis of a neder. Okay, so the actual infrastructure doesn't have that kedusha property. So if that's the case, we cannot attribute this halacha, which relates kedusha to the stones of Yerushalayim, to Rabbi Yehuda. No, maybe we'll say that Rabbi Yehuda agrees to the concept that the stones constituting the wall of Yerushalayim have kedusha. Mishum de lo yamar Yerushalayim. The only problem with the neder there, of course, the actual stones are kaddish, but the problem is he didn't say ki, he didn't say like, he didn't add the chaf. This should be like that. So it's just a technical, neder related deficiency. But in concept, he agrees that the stones used to build Yerushalayim have kedusha vatani, but that's not true, because the Brisa says Rabbi Yehuda Omer kol omer ki Yerushalayim lo omer klum. Even if he says this is like ki Yerushalayim, it doesn't work. Unless he relates to a carbon brought in Yerushalayim, which in fact has, absolute kedusha, which can be used as basis for a neder. So bottom line is, he's not attributing kedusha to the stones of the wall. So there are actually two versions according to Rabbi Yehuda. According to one sheet, Rabbi Yehuda does attribute kedusha to the stones of Yerushalayim, pertaining to Me'ilah, and according to the other shita, it does not have that kedusha. Okay, so this brisa, the previous brisa, which attributed kedusha to the Avnei Yerushalayim relating to Me'ilah, can very well be Rabbi Yehuda's shita according to one version. Okay, so bottom line, Rabbi Meir says, if you take Hegdish and Mekadosh and Isha b'Shogeg, it does not work. According to Rav's approach, this is not a general concept pertaining to money of Hegdish. That type of money spent even b'Shogeg is a valid transaction and constitutes Me'ilah. We're speaking about Bigdei Kehuna, which in any case were given somewhat, with looser, parameters, so to speak. In which case, there's no me'ilah if misused b'shogeg at all. And that's the case of the Mishnah. And apparently Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, just because the Kehanim can wear it extra time doesn't mean that anybody else has is exempt from me'ilah. And therefore, according to Rabbi Yehuda, even the big kahuna which were used for kiddushin b'shogeg constitute me'ilah. It generates a transaction and is considered a kiddushin. Amar Ula, Mishmei Devar Pada. Ula disagrees with Rav's approach. We're not speaking just about Big Day Kahuna. Rather, there's another reason, a different reason, to explain Rav Meir's sheet. So Ula quotes Bar Pada, Oymar Hayi Rav Meir, Hegdish, B'mezid Meschalal, B'shagigein Meschalal. He goes back to that earlier explanation in yesterday's daf, which was Rav Yehuda. I'll tell you why. If you take even mammon, money of Hegdish, and apply it for Kiddushin, it doesn't work. Because she's not willing. She's not interested in getting entangled with, Me'ilah, with, it's a mekach tos, it's a mistaken transaction. She doesn't want it, maybe he doesn't either want it, and therefore the Kiddushin doesn't work. B'mezid, if it was done intentionally, purposely, yeah, that's Me'ilah, fine, it's Kiddushin, but not b'shegig. So it's not specific to Big Day Kahuna, it's just a general concept that applies to any sort of Hegdish. B'mezid mischalal, b'shegig ein mischalal, v'lo yamru b'shegig mischalal, elul inyan karban. Now, although the Torah speaks about a karban me'ilah, and he's learning that even by shaygig, there's an element of chilul and me'ilah that's only pertaining to karban. So a person uses mammon hegdish for a purchase, the mammon stays hegdish, but he committed me'ilah to a certain extent that has to bring a karban. That's the kasha on that is, how could that be? How could you say elul inin karban bavad v'chima achad ein meschal? There's no change of status with this money. He hadn't really accomplished anything. Karban b'may mechayv. Why would he bring a karban? Elo ki asa Ravin. When Ravin came, Parish Mishmei Devar Bar Pada, he presented a different and apparently more correct version of Bar Pada's halacha, of his explanation. Omer Hay Rav Meir. Rav Meir would say, Hegdish b'mezid mischal, b'shegi ein mischal. There's no me'ilah b'shegi, only by mezid. But the Omer b'shegi mischal, elo in achila b'vad. Oh. So we have to divide into two different sort of categories. Spending mammon hegdish only generates me'ilah, only generates chilul when it was done b'shegig. But when it was done, b'mezid. But b'shegig, it's a non-starter. They're not interested. Who wants to get involved in mammon hegdish? It's a mekach tos. When we speak about chilul or me'ilah, even by shegig, that's when it does not entail a transaction. A fellow sits down to a meal and he eats something of hegdish, or he burns a lamp of hegdish, hana from hegdish. So it doesn't involve a transaction or a partner in transaction. It doesn't involve somebody else. It's my personal activity. It's my enjoyment. There certainly it's called me'ilah because I've consumed and obliterated hegdish property. So even b'shegig, it's considered me'ilah. Okay, so we have two approaches, two ways to explain Rav Meir. Once again, we have a Mishnah where Rav Meir says, "Hamakadesh behegdish." B'shegig is not a kiddushin. B'mezid is a kiddushin. Explanation in the name of Rav Yehuda, and ultimately today we have Rav Pada as well, is based on the mekach tos concept. He didn't tell me, I didn't know, I'm not interested. There's no me'ilah, there's no chilul, there's no kiddushin. And if it was b'mezid, yeah, then there's me'ilah, then there's kiddushin. Rav's approach was, it's specific to Big Day Kahuna, which have a special discount, so to speak, and there's no me'ilah b'shegig there, but it wouldn't apply to other things. This is all Rav Meir's shita, right? Let's just remember there's another shita as well, Rabbi Yehuda. He says, Mekadesh behegdish, b'shegig is a kiddushin, because he doesn't hold it as whole svar. He says, even if it's a inadvertent misuse of hegdish, they committed me'ilah, and there's a kiddushin because it's a change of status. The transaction does take effect, whether or not you know it, whether or not you're interested in it, and therefore there's a kiddushin. But he holds that if it's b'mezid, interesting. He holds b'mezid, there's no meila. It's a general machlokes. Rabbi Yehuda, is there meila b'mezid? Rabbi Yehuda says whether it's b'shayg b'mezid, in concept there's meila. Rabbi Yehuda says no. The concept of meila is only if it's a mistaken misuse, but not intentional. So that was the third part of the Mishnah, but we also discussed a machlokes between these same shitas by Maser Sheni used for Kiddushin. Rabbi Meir says it doesn't work because Maser Sheni, that's not your property, it's Mammon Gavoya. So whether it's B'Shoigig, B'Mezid, it doesn't work. Rabbi Yehuda says Maser Sheni is personal property, and therefore can theoretically be used for Kiddushin if she's aware of it. But if you tricked her into it, if it's B'Shoigig, then it doesn't work. Right? So, it's not a Kiddush. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav Ada bar Ava. How do we rule? What's the maskana? What's the psak halach? Halach germei b'maser. When it comes to Maser Sheni, we follow Reb Meir. It's Mammon Gavoya. Cannot be applied for personal use. Hoil v'sasamon tanaka v'sei. We have a stam mishnah. We're going to see in a minute. An anonymous mishnah, which was concluded as such by Rabbi HaKadosh with all his with the whole yeshiva, with the Talmidim. The consensus was to adopt Reb Meir's shita. Maser Sheni is heavenly property. Mammon Gavoya. When it comes to Hegdish, the other question of applying Hegdish for Kiddushin, B'Shoigig, we follow Rabbi Yehuda that it works. Likewise, we have a Stam Mishnah that adopts his view. Where are these Mishnahs? So we follow Reb Meir B'Maser Mai. Where's the Mishnah? The Snan Keren Ravai. We have the 4th year vineyard, so it's past the 3 years of Erla. It's the 4th year. It's growing. What happens to that vineyard? What status does it have? So we know that we need to consume either the actual produce or its value through chilul, through a transfer of value through redemption. Either that or the actual food itself to Yerushalayim and have it there. So when you redeem Maser Sheni, you have to add a 5th if you're the owner redeeming it. What happens to the Keren Ravai, items grown in the 4th year? Does it have Kedusha like Maser Sheni or not? So that's a big shayla. Machlokes between Beis Shammai, who say Beis Shammai ein lo chemish, ein lo bir. No, Keren Ravai has no Kedusha status. It's not equated to Maser Sheni. You trade it. You don't have to add a 5th. And when it comes the time for biur, where you're meant to clean out and clear out all the masters from your house, the 3rd year of the Shemitah cycle is 6th year, Pesach time, right? So the biur concept only applies to Truma, to Maser, not to Keren Ravai. No, it is fully equated to Maser Sheni. It has Kedusha, likewise Yeshlei. It has a Chaimish, it has biur. Another question, which is related, B'Shami Emrim Yeshlei Peret, Yeshlei Oilulus. All the halachas of gifts to the poor people apply to the Keren Ravai as well. Just like ordinary produce. So you have a parrot, a grape which dropped on the floor, you have to leave it for the poor man. Oilulus, a grape which grows without any grapes around it, it's sort of a freestanding grape. That's a peculiar looking grape. That's called oilulus. That goes to the aniyim. So we treat it like ordinary produce, like your own personal property. Parrot and oilulus applies like any other vineyard. No. It's Kaddish. It's like Maser Sheni, Kulei Lagas. Keren Ravai has its own status. It goes straight to the wine press. There's no halachas of Peret, of Oilulus. Why? My time at the Beis Hillel. Why do Beis Hillel exempt it from these obligations? Gamri Kaddish, Kaddish Maser. They connect it through Exera Shava. The word Kaddish here, the word Kaddish there, from Maser Sheni, and we attribute Kedusha to Keren Ravai. We give it the status like Maser Sheni. Ma Maser Yesh LeChomish, Yesh LeBir, just like Maser Sheni has these elements. Af Keren Ravai, Yesh LeChomish, Yesh LeBir. That's Beis Hillel. Ubeis Shammai Lo Gamri Kodesh Maser. They don't have the Kabbalah for this Gzera Shava. They don't connect it. Now, Ubeis Hillel Imrim Kemaser. The fact is, we see that Beis Hillel equate Keren Ravai, this 4th year vineyard, to Maser Sheni. Keman Svirlu. So when it comes to the status of Maser Sheni, regarding that question whether it's personal property or heavenly property, whose shita are they following? Rabbi Yehuda, is it like Rabbi Yehuda that says it's personal property? The problem is, amai kula lagas. So when we equate kerem ravai, and we give it the same status as Maser Sheni is Mammon Hedid, so why is kerem ravai going to the wine press? It should have all the ordinary obligations of peret and oilus if it's considered your personal property. Ha'amar Maser Mammon Hedid. According to you, the Maser Sheni is Mammon Hedid. And likewise, kerem ravai. Oh, elolav kerav meir. So clearly, Beis Hillel, Rashi says Beis Hillel is like Stam Mishnah because Beis Hillel is the consensus. We pass like Beis Hillel. So this Mishnah, which presents Beis Hillel's Shita, is clearly in line with Rabbi Meir's opinion by Maser Sheni. It's Mammon Gavoya. Likewise, we extend that status to Kerem Ravai as well. So we have a Stam Mishnah like Rabbi Meir, Maser Sheni, Mammon Gavoya. Okay, check. Next, Rabbi Yehuda ben Mehegdish Mai. Where do we find a Stam Mishnah which expresses Rabbi Yehuda's opinion regarding Hegdish, which was that even Hegdish property misused unintentionally generates Me'ilah. Mahi, where do we find it? This not. So, with the Mishnah speaking about a fellow who had some Hegdish money, Shilach biat Pikeach. He sends it with a mature adult. Okay, as opposed to a Chere Shaiti V'Katan. So this fellow is a responsible adult. He sends him, to purchase something with this money in the marketplace. V'Niskar. And the sender and the Shliach himself as well, become aware of the fact that this money is Mammon Hegdish. But he still continues, proceeds to the market, and offers it to a merchant for an item. So they remind themselves before he got to the merchant, and then it's handed to the merchant in exchange for an item. Who commits Me'ilah? So, as soon as the Chenvani takes that money and spends it for personal use, he committed Me'ilah. Why? Because he's the only one responsible. Poor guy, because he's a shogeg. Because unbeknown to him, this money is hegdish. Whereas the other parties involved, they're fully cognizant of the status of this money. So there's no Me'ilah by Mezid, because the pasuk says, Nefesh kesimol mal v'chata b'shgaga, which from which Rabbi Yehuda learns that Me'ilah is only by shogeg, not by Mezid. So this poor merchant committed Me'ilah, but not them. So it's a clear raya. It's a Stam Mishnah, which expresses Rabbi Yehuda's Shita. Asks the Gemara, okay, got it. But you're assuming that we pass like Rabbi Meir when it comes to Maser Sheni because of a Stam Mishnah, but we have another Mishnah, another Stam Mishnah, which expresses Rabbi Yehuda's Shita by Maser Sheni, that it's Mammon Hedid. Uk Rabbi Yehuda b'Maser Milay Tanan. Don't we have another Mishnah which expresses Rabbi Yehuda's Shita by Maser Sheni? V'Tanan. Hapoyde Maser Sheni shaloi meisel of chamishisay. When a person redeems his own personal Maser Sheni, he has to add the fifth. Whether it's his own farm, bein mishaloi, or bein shenisloi matana, somebody else gave him the Maser Sheni as a gift. Now it's yours. You're the owner. Add a fifth. Now, how could you possibly give Maser Sheni as a gift? It's not yours to give. It's Mammon Gavoya. Money. Who's speaking in this Mishnah? Ilim Reb Meir. Is it Reb Meir? Doesn't work. How could you give Maser Sheni as a gift? Va'amar. Reb Meir holds Maser Mammon Gavoyu. It's spiritual material. It's not your personal property. El Lav Rabbi Yehuda. Oh, clearly the Mishnah is expressing Rabbi Yehuda's Shita. It's personal property that can be gifted. No, Lo'ilam Reb Meir. Of course, this Mishnah is Reb Meir. Perhaps. Vach, my skin was speaking that he didn't actually get the Maser Sheni as a gift. No. It started way earlier. Going to Yavle Ni'alei Betivle. A fellow grew some crops. And in its tevel form, before we even spoke about Maser Sheni, Maser Sheni is embedded within it, but it's only potential Maser Sheni. It's currently not considered Maser Sheni. It's still, a step ahead of that, a step behind that. So he gave it to his friend in its tevel form, because Savar, this Mishnah holds, matonis, the gifts, the elements that are meant to be separated, such as Maser Sheni, which are there in potential, Shelo Yehurmu, which have not yet been separated, Kimi Shelo Yehurmu Damian, they're unseparated. We don't view them as real and tangible at this early point. So there is no Maser Sheni to be identified. It's just tevel, which can be given as a gift. Tashmai comes another kasha. Hapoida neter ravai, very similar kasha. Person redeems his neter ravai. That's the vineyard that grew on the fourth. It's the fourth year of this vine. Neter ravai shaloi. Moisiv of chamishisai. So once again, if he's the owner, he has to add a fifth. Bein mishaloi, whether it was initially his. Bein shenitla matana, whether it was given to him as a gift. How can you gift this type of material? Mani, who's speaking? Ilim Rab Meir, is it Rab Meir? Mi matzi yarvle, how could you give it as a gift? V'gamri kaddish kaddish master. It's clear that this Tana follows the shita there that we connect Netar Ravai to Maser Sheni, and we give it the same status because otherwise there would be no din of Chaimish, right? So that's a clear indication that he's treating Netar Ravai like Maser Sheni. And if it's Rameir, well, just like Maser Sheni is Mama Gavoya, so too is Netar Ravai. How could you give it as a matana? Elalav Rabbi Yehuda, it must be Rabbi Yehuda speaking. We have a stam mission like Rabbi Yehuda. It's personal property, can be gifted. Loi, Rameir, perhaps it's Rameir. And the same answer as before. My skin was speaking. Can go into Yov Kishu smother. When did he give it to matana? When it was still in its early stages of growth. Rashi says when the anovim, when the karim, you can already discern the small grape. So the blossoms have already shed, and you see the bud. That's the state that we're speaking about, and it's not yet a kaddish. Doesn't have the din of netar ravai. It's not yet a developed fruit. Would look Rabbi Yossi, we're not following Rabbi Yossi, who says that this is already considered somewhat of a fruit. The Amar smother, even this grape at this early state is already, if it's arla, it's a different story there. It's arla, aser, peri, it's already considered a fruit. So he holds that smother already constitutes fruit. We don't hold like that, and therefore this netar ravai in this early, very early, premature state is not considered kaddish, and therefore can be given as a gift, even if you hold that typically Maser Sheni and by extension netar ravai is Mama Gavaya, which cannot be transferred. Toshma. Here comes another kasha from a Mishnah Maser Sheni, which will indicate to us that there is a Stam Mishnah in accordance with Rabbi Yehuda. Toshma. Mashach himenu Maser Bisela. So, a fellow had Maser Sheni, and he is selling it to his friend. Now the Rash, one of the Rishonim in the Mishnah, asks Akasha, how could you sell Maser Sheni? He says that they're not really buying and selling. It's like sort of a chilul. It's sort of like a transfer. The customer is sort of redeeming the Maser Sheni. You have Maser Sheni, okay, let me take it from you, give you money instead, sort of make a transfer, a chilul, and you'll take the money and bring it to Yerushalayim. That's allowed. Okay, but let's say there was some sort of fluctuation in the value in between. So he did Mashiach, he actually took possession of the customer took possession of the item, Mashach Himenu Maser, which at that point was worth only $1, Besela. By the time he got around to paying for it, to actually transferring the money to the owner, it was worth doubled in price. Now, he's only responsible for a seller. And he gains a seller. He keeps the Maser Sheni. Because, the Mashiach is the trigger point that activates the sale. At that point, it was only a seller. That's what he owes. Who's speaking in this Mishnah? What status does the Maser Sheni have? Is it personal property or not? Mani, Ilim or Meir speaking. Why is this customer gaining a seller? Meaning, why is Mashiach the trigger point? Why is that the decisive moment? The pasuk in describing redeeming hegdish property and likewise all heavenly mam and gavoya transactions specifies that kesef, transferring of money, is what triggers the deal. Right. So the same with the Maser Sheni. Mashiach does not really constitute the trigger. It's the paying of the money which hasn't happened until it was worth 2. He should pay 2. Elalav Rabbi Yehuda. Oh, so this must be Rabbi Yehuda speaking. Maser Sheni is mom and head. It's personal property. It's my private possession, and therefore, just like ordinary metaltalin are nicknamed with Mashiach as the trigger point. Here as well, I'm lucky because by the Mashiach it was only worth a seller. That's what I have to pay. Because if it's Rameir, the kesef is what constitutes the deal. Right? So we've proven that this Mishnah's Reb Shimon reflects Rabbi Yehuda's Shita, Rabbi Yehuda. And now we have a Stam Mishnah, an anonymous Mishnah, presented by Rabbi HaKadosh in the Mishnah. It's like Rabbi Yehuda. So why do we pass like Rabbi Meir? Because of that other Stam Mishnah that indicated Rabbi Meir Shita. Here we have Rabbi Yehuda as well. Loyal Rabbi Yehuda, you're right. This is Rabbi Yehuda speaking. This is a Stam Mishnah which adopts his Shita, but it's 2 against 1. V'achachat Stama. True, we've just discovered one Stam Mishnah in line with Rabbi Yehuda, but we have 2 against it. V'chatrei Stami. We have 2 Stam Mishnahs in line with Rabbi Meir. That Maser Sheni is Mama Gavoya. One is in Maseches Maser Sheni, and there's another Mishnah which is sort of a duplicate of that Mishnah mentioned in Maseches Ediyos, which is sort of a collection, a compilation of various testimonies offered by many Chachamim. Rashi calls them G'dolim, great Chachamim, in a very special and unique setting. This was the day that Eliezer ben Azariah was established as a Nasi. And they opened the doors wide, everybody came in, and it was a huge crowd, and they sat, and they verified, and they clarified many, many halachas, and those halachas were sort of accepted by consensus. And therefore it has greater weight. So basically, we're going to get that in a minute. So basically we have 2 citations of the same Mishnah, once in Maseches Maser Sheni, once in Ediyos, both reflective of Rabbi Meir's opinion that Maser Sheni is Mamar Gavoya, so we go with that. Asks the Gemara, who cares? Stam Mishnah has value by virtue of the fact that it's a Stam Mishnah, indicating consensus, indicating approval. This is the going opinion. So what's the difference if it's 1 or 2? If Rebbe specifically was says in the Mishnah to indicate that this is the way we go, Mali Chad Stam, Mali Trei Stam, what's the difference if it's 1 Stam Mishnah or 2? The message is all the same. This is the way we go. This is the Shita that we adopt. The reason why we adopt Rabbi Meir is because in Maseches Ediyos, which is called Bechirasa because the Mishnahs there are sort of unique, as we explained, and therefore that carries more weight. We say in line with Rabbi Meir, so that's how we paskin. Okay, so in conclusion, we discussed 2 cases, Mekadesh Hegdish, and we have Shoigig and Mezid within that. Then we discussed Mekadesh with Maser Sheni. Let's just go back. So when it comes to Mekadesh with Hegdish, we have sort of 2 avenues, 2 ways to understand the Machlekes. Rabbi Meir says, if you do it b'Shoigig, no KIDDUSHIN. And Rabbi Yehuda says it is. One way to explain, we're speaking about Bigdei Kehuna, in which case the rules have been loosened because of the Kehanim, who are not Malachim, right? Likewise, an ordinary person, ordinary citizen who misuses the Bigdei Kehuna b'Shoigig, there's no Me'ilah. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees with that concept. And therefore it's considered a misuse, considered diversion, Me'ilah has taken place, and therefore the transaction has taken effect, and the KIDDUSHIN is Chal. What about Mekadesh? That's one approach. The second approach is Barpada, Rabbi Yechanan. It's all about Mekach Tos, mindset and personal objection. And it pertains to any Hegdish item, not just Bigdei Kehuna. If it was used b'Shoigig, going to Rameh, there's no Me'ilah. If it's in the context of a transaction because they're not interested, or at least the merchant wasn't interested, so it never took off. There's no diversion, there's no transaction, there's no Me'ilah. There's no KIDDUSHIN by the Ish. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. He says Me'ilah, even b'Shoigig, constitutes Me'ilah. Transaction has taken place, and KIDDUSHIN is Chal. Now, what if he's Mekadesh with Hegdish b'Mezid? Once again, another Machlekes. Rabbi Meir says there's Me'ilah even by Mezid. Rabbi Yehuda says no, Mal b'Shkog is only by Shoigig, not by Mezid. So there's no transaction, there's no KIDDUSHIN. And one concludes, based on the Stam Mishnahs, when it comes to the Maser Sheni question, we pass on Rabbi Meir, Mamar Gavoya, and by extension, Neta Ravai also has that status. Whereas when it comes to Hegdish, we pass on Rabbi Yehuda, that there is Me'ilah only by shogeg, and not when a person misuses the item is b'mezid. Hatzloch Rab, B'suros Tovos, and all the best to you.